Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Glory Hunters podcast. We haven't done one in a while, but I'm here with Nick. We have Messi, Ronaldo, Klopp, Sancho, MLS, some MLS Bruce Arena drama. It's going to be great. You ready to do this? I paid hundreds for flights, hotels, tickets to watch Messi, and he didn't show up. Sucker! Are you aware of this? Did you know that Messi played for Argentina recently? He went on, which seems to be really strange because he's been telling everybody that Inter Miami's going to make the playoffs, which seems to be a bigger uphill battle than Leagues Cup would ever be. Just making this team play well is an uphill battle. But it's weird. He doesn't want to be a part of the World Cup team when it comes to the States and Mexico and Canada. And he decided to play, scored a goal, then got taken out before the end of the game in Ecuador for Argentina and didn't play against Bolivia. Did not show up against, this was expected against Inter Miami's game against Kansas City. They played great. Everybody stepped it up tenfold against Kansas City, so they won without him, which I think was a real statement about not just that Messi's changed this team, that just other guys have just picked up their game over in Miami. And he was going to play, I think that would be the biggest, fanciest MLS stadium against a pretty good Atlanta team, and he didn't show up, and the stadium showed it. It was really scant attendance. I think that was out of anger because Atlanta gets decent attendance from what I can visibly see, sort of anecdotally see, I should say. Should this guy be mad about losing, or is this just tough luck?
I think it's probably just tough luck. Because whereas obviously like in European leagues, they stop playing during the international breaks. You never really have that problem over here.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know if it's maybe just they didn't check the schedule and just didn't see that Argentina would be playing and thought, oh, maybe Messi's going to be playing for Argentina.
Well, I think if you did check the schedule, he would have been back by then. But I think the only game he was expected to miss, in fairness, was Kansas City. And then he decided to miss the other one as well. I think it just comes down to this. Messi is overworking himself. I'm just shocked that, I keep on hearing rumors that no one wants to take his spot. That's probably out of fear. In Argentina, you figured you had one guy say, hey, I'll take his spot. B, what is he doing? If you're not going to be a part of the World Cup team, what's the point? Maybe it's time to retire. And you expected to win Leagues Cup, get these guys in the playoff, make a run in the playoffs, and play for Argentina. Even Superman, I think, would have trouble doing that. Like, what do you think? He's just overworking himself? Like, what is he thinking?
I don't know. Maybe his thought is because it's qualifiers that he's playing with Argentina at the moment, so it's not like they're nothing games. So maybe It's like, here's my parting gift to you. I'm going to get you into the World Cup, and then let you do it, like flourish and see how you do. Then maybe he sees it that, or maybe he's just chasing records. Maybe he wants to try and get his goal tally up a bit more on the international scene. So by the time he's done in a year's time, or whenever the World Cup comes around, he's like tallies a bit higher for other Argentinians to try and reach, maybe.
I have a weird theory. Okay. Ever since he won the World Cup, you're seeing the conversation between him kind of cool between him and Ronaldo. With Ronaldo playing for Portugal in the World Cup, it looks like he wants to go the whole way. I don't know if he'll make it, but that's a different story. He looks like he's gearing up. Do you think Messi is afraid? I'm sorry, for the Euros. I apologize. Ronaldo's going to play in the Euros. You think Messi is so competitive that does the conversation come back to who's better if Ronaldo wins another Euro?
I think, yeah, definitely the conversation will return because World Cup's great, but 2 Euros is still pretty good, impressive. I think it does reignite it a bit more. I'm not sure if there's a Copa America, though, before the World Cup. because if
Oh,
there
that's
is,
right. No, I didn't think
maybe
of
he's
that.
gonna
Maybe he's
maybe
gonna
he
play in
plans on
that.
playing the Copa America
Is it too
before
much?
going.
Is it too much even for Messi? He's 36 years old. He's taken on so much with this Miami team, succeeded at it. What's wrong with just concentrating on? There's very few guys in their late 30s playing on international football. If there was going to be a guy, it would be a guy like a Messi or Ronaldo. Is it just too much? Maybe you just concentrate on Miami. If I was an Inter Miami fan, and I'm a passing fan because I'm rooting for them, because rooting for Inter Miami is rooting for MLS, and I'm definitely an MLS fan. Is this just like, man, hang one of the boots up, maybe not both of them? Is that too much to ask, or is that kind of obnoxious? I shouldn't be telling other people what to do with their lives.
I don't know. I think that's maybe more just a bit of like the selfish MLS
Yes,
fan
yes, that's what it is.
talking, where like they want him to focus fully on the MLS, whereas he thinks, oh, it's fine. I can miss 1 or 2 games for Miami. They're going to be fine, whilst I can still carry on and do things with Argentina as well as end up doing things with Miami.
Well, they're not going to be fine because they lost to Atlanta 5-2, as you can see right here. The score is a little. There was an own goal. It was a little closer than this looked. They did real well in the Kansas City game. I think you're right. I think he believes in his the other players and not just because Jordi Alba took the day off too. And I was a little surprised by this result. And they got very, very lucky. Every other team either lost or drew above them. They got really lucky because the Hudson River Derby was a 0-0 affair. That's huge. I think I think Charlotte either drew or lost, and Chicago. I think Chicago had a draw too. So the table in the Eastern Conference kind of stays the same, but there's only 5 weeks left, and he's telling people they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, if this is the Miami team, this is over. This season's over. That nobody would even consider them making this run. It's just because Messi's there, and there is something to worry. But every game now is a final for them. If they treat it like that, I think it's the only way. Draws are really you can't do them. There's other teams that are looking to go over the line in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if this was such a good idea. Maybe he realized that. Maybe that's why he didn't play against Bolivia at this point. This is just too much. Maybe he's having such a good time. Did he smile this much on PSG? Because every time I turn on an Inter game, he's smiling. He's having a great time out there. But this is just too much for any one person. The only upside is you get 3 months off when you play in the MLS. You got to get some quality time off. But I don't know. I just think this is he's not Superman. He's a human being. Time to chill, man. At least for me, for MLS. Continuing to talk about Messi and a little bit of Ronaldo, I just wanted to run these by you. Messi at Inter Miami. 11 games, 9 starts, 2 sub appearances, 11 goals, 5 assists, 0 penalties, 0 hat tricks, 2 free kicks, minutes per goal, 81.3%. Minutes per non-penalty goal, 81.3%. Minutes per goal or assist, 55.9. Trophies won. Now let's go with Ronaldo at Al Nassr. 30 games, 29 starts, 1 sub, 26 goals, 7 assists, penalties recorded, 8 hat tricks, 3. He had 3 hat tricks. And people say that league's better. Come on now. Free kicks 1. Minutes per goal 101.9. Minutes per non-penalty goal 147.2. Minutes per goal and assist 80.3. And he did have the Arab Club Champions Club. I don't know how. I thought that their big cup is the King's Cup. I'm not sure how big that trophy is. I don't know how it's comparable to League's Cup. Your opinion, who's more successful here since they both made the big move?
It's kind of hard because obviously Ronaldo's been there a bit longer, but probably Messi. When you look at Al Nassr were one of the top teams when Cristiano Ronaldo joined, and they ended up failing to win the league, I believe, in his first half season there, when I think they might have been top of the league when he joined as well. So that's
wild.
A bit of a failure. Whereas you look at Messi's impact with Miami. They both won their cups, but league-wise, Miami's form is completely flipped compared to what it was before. It's like compared to before Messi, whereas Ronaldo's form, because he's joining a better team, it's not necessarily had as much impact. So it's kind of hard to compare the two. But I'd say Messi. Looking at it,
if you're going to for media, just by that alone, I think it's got to be Messi. For as far as generating stories and things like that. I think also he's been eliminated from their sort of FA Cup. I think it's called King's Cup already. Their team's been eliminated already, and a lot of criticism from ESPN FC after he played with Portugal recently. I don't know if that's fair or not. I didn't see the game. I think this is going to be really interesting to see like what's considered more successful. It's probably not a fair comparison. I think they're trying to do very different things. But I think what the more interesting thing is, and I don't think you can do this with just free agents or big European players or formerly successful players alone. Like, what is the league quality like? Not just. I don't think you can judge a league by how many stars they have. I think you can judge a league by how good's the average player. I'd like to settle it in an MLS All-Star game. I think that would be awesome. One last time, Messi, Ronaldo. But I don't know how to tell. I notice if you're a Ronaldo fan, the Arab League's better. If you're a Messi fan, the MLS is better. I don't know how to settle that, but I think it's going to be a real interesting conversation when this experiment is done. Is who did more for football? Who was more successful? So it's just one more thing that these guys are going to. I think they'll be competing forever. Sort of like Maradona. The comparisons between Maradona and Pelé kind of seem to go on forever, even though they weren't two different generations of players. So I think that's interesting. More Ronaldo. Ronaldo takes legal actions against former club Juventus. Demands more than £17 million. Have you heard about this?
Briefly, yeah.
Does this have anything to do? Isn't Juventus in some kind of trouble this year? Not shocking from an Italian team. Did they lose European football, or were they? Is there some kind of action, or am I missing something here? Why would they not be able to pay Ronaldo his salary?
Well, a lot of Italian clubs have been having issues recently. Last season, I don't think it was financially motivated, but they were punished last season with a huge points deduction.
That's what it is.
For like cooking the books, I think it was. They were like lying about transfer fees or something along those lines. And so they lost a lot of points, which did mean they finished outside of the European places last season, which is obviously another hit to their money. And yeah, like I say, I think just the Italian teams in general have been having a lot of issues financially. Inter, another club that have been really bad financially recently, and COVID has hit hard. And there was a lot of teams that were asking players to take less money. So it's easily possible that maybe they said, look, Ronaldo's on so much money and we're just not earning enough. So they looked for a way to get out of it. And now he's looking, look, it's time for me to have my money. And that's why he's going for this.
I pay him. But I think this is a reflection of what you said, the economic issues. And, I don't think it's any surprise. I'm not saying I'm for or against this, European football fans. But I don't think it's any surprise that the Italian teams seem to be most interested, especially the top teams, in a Superliga. Not saying I'm for it. Looks like it's a dead issue right now. But I do wonder if these teams are going to be able to compete in the future without being able to spend money. If they don't have access to it, they will fall by the wayside, and the Serie A will cease to be a top 5 league. You like watching Jurgen Klopp? Are you a big fan? Are you a big Klopp fan?
I wouldn't say I'm a big Klopp fan.
I'm a Klopp head.
I'm not a Klopp hater.
I'm a Klopp head to the bone. Here we go.
Of course you can. I'm 100% sure it's the best question in the whole press conference.
It's on the top, please.
I can do that as well. The second best question. Welcome. You want your pen back?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So it can only get worse from here.
And that's why I'm a Klopp-head. And he was right. Watch this.
But you still do it. That's interesting. You're kidding me. A week after we closed the transfer window, you asked me about a January transfer window. Yeah. Obviously, you can't wait until December to ask this question. So we will see what happens until then. No, I'm not worried in this moment, not at all. I didn't even think about it until you opened that round again. So, yeah, no, I'm not worried.
Could he possibly be thinking about? I mean, I believe him. I know coaches lie to the media all the time, and good. I wouldn't tell them the truth either. I don't think they're entitled to know anything. But I mean, really, you could make an argument that Mo Salah, due to his age, this is the most money they're ever going to get for him. There's a lot of reasons to let him go, especially with Saudi Arabia paying huge prices. But I mean, is it reasonable to ask him that just after this? I mean, clearly they need him going forward. I really don't get the sports media sometimes.
Suppose so, but you got to look at it as, are Liverpool going to win anything this season?
I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. They're in a bit of a transition with like a new midfield they've brought in, and so you're talking like 200 million bid from Saudi Arabia. I don't know. I think I would have sold. So
really? So you would have sold this summer?
I think so, yeah. With the insane amount of money that Saudi Arabia is offering, Salah's age, maybe you just say, look, this is going to be an off year. We're going to take this huge amount of money for Salah and we're going to reinvest this to build the team even further going forward. So I think I would have sold Salah. So I can see the mentality of asking it. Like, it's a lot of money.
What if Salah didn't want to go?
Age.
What if Salah, I mean, what if Salah didn't want to go? They wanted to trade. I was like, no, I don't want to go. I want to stay here. And that's not out of the question. Why is it always the team in this case? We don't always find out. We only find out when they agree. We don't find out who disagrees and when. And sometimes you can make educated guesses, but maybe he wanted to stay. I mean, I don't think winning the league is a possibility, but qualifying for Champions League isn't out of the question. FA Cup run is not a deep run in that tournament is not out of the question. Getting rid of Salah is kind of giving up on your season.
To an extent, yeah. But like I say, it's a lot of money. That's the thing. It's like, if we're talking like 100 million, fine.
I think you're looking at it like a Chelsea fan, because they're doing this, in my opinion, a fantastic attempt at a rebuild in a difficult town to do it in London, because London's a lot like New York. They don't tolerate rebuilding, especially when you have a winning team like Chelsea historically. Can they even get rid of Salah? Will the fans? I mean, it's really tough to rebuild in these big football capitals. Like Liverpool, like Manchester, like anywhere in London, pretty much, because there's so much is expected of the team, even when it's unreasonable.
Suppose so, but I think there's also the case that Liverpool have a quality squad, even without Salah. Obviously, he's by far and away the best player on that team. So there's still a chance that they could make top 4 qualification without Salah, as long as some of their newer signings recently, like Szoboszlai and McAllister and even Darwin Núñez, has a better season this year. Then I think the quality is there that they could potentially even make top 4 without Salah. Obviously, with Salah, your chances are a lot better. And like, it's just a lot of money for me. 200 plus million is like one of the biggest fees ever for a guy who's very soon is going to start declining.
Dipping. He's not there yet, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That is the struggle with it. He just is such a good player as well.
There's so many things. Like, Klopp's got to take all the blame. There's so many things. Like, the organization could be saying we're not selling him. Mo could say no. He could be saying yes, and he could be saying no, and the other two, you never really know who's holding up the parade in something like this. But I do wonder if getting rid of Salah is a tap out, and it's really tough to face your fans after something like that. I wonder if that alone is just holding the whole thing up. If I was a Liverpool fan, I don't want to see him go. I just don't want him gone for that chance that we're going to win something. Real quick note, Mo Salah, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that he tied Steven Gerrard, the great Liverpool legend, in goal involvements. This is a huge, I mean, to do it on Liverpool, first of all, 200 goal involvements in the Premier League is incredible. And I think that pretty much cements him as an all-time great Liverpool player.
Well, it's not just a Liverpool great; he's an all-time Premier League great. He's got arguments to be in the conversation of the best 11 of Premier League players ever. And you look at the amount of time that both, obviously Gerrard plays further back in the pitch, but Salah has done this in a lot less time as well. It's just incredible. His output over his years at Liverpool has genuinely been unbelievably good.
That's why it's going to be very sad to see him go, and it'll make a lot of fans upset, and he shouldn't go. Bye. That's what I think. Do you know who Bruce Arena is? We're going to do some MLS.
I don't really know anything about him. No, but his time at the US seems to be before me. But you're the expert on the MLS stuff.
I'm an absolute expert in everything MLS. No, but if you're just I consider him the best coach for the United States men's team. I got him to the quarterfinals, and if it wasn't for a handball by Turson Frings, they'd been in the semifinals, in my opinion. He's won with DC United. Was one of the original winners. He had Galaxy when they were good. I'm trying to remember. Did he have Red Bull with Thierry Henry? And to make it short, he seems to have unlocked the code, so to speak. I think I'm stealing from one of the ESPN FC guys. I can't remember which, to win in the MLS. And last year, Revolution were at the bottom of the table. This year, they're second. Little bit of a surprise, not a huge surprise. And it just kind of shows that he, what a great coach the 71-year-old is. He had this guy, Richie Williams, who he coached at one point in college back in the 80s. Apparently, he said some insensitive and inappropriate remarks. And what it looks like to me, this guy, Richie, it seems like he literally went to human resources, and they did an investigation. And I just get the feeling, because I bet he couldn't deny what he said, that I get the feeling that he's like, I'm too old for this. I can get a job anywhere in MLS. I'm just walking away, and in the middle of the season, just before the playoffs, they lose their coach. The players weren't happy with this because there wasn't much transparency. Nobody knows what he said, or how bad it was, so to speak. And the players were like, "Guess what? We're not practicing. We're not practicing. This is BS. We're losing our coach right before." I don't really like player strikes, but I guess it's understandable. And look what happened. They lost to the worst team in the league, which is no longer Inter Miami, Colorado. You want to see? You know what the record is? Do I have it here? Do I have their record? Okay, here's Colorado's record: 4-10-13 with a -22 GD, and they lost them. The second team, the second best team in the Eastern Conference, and now they are the third. They got knocked down a peg. And not only that, they made Richie Williams interim coach, but it was interim because they decided to take the Revolution 2's coach and bounce him too. So it was all for naught. Going to human resources was all for naught. I think it's one of those situations where, he said what he said to you. You're right, but you're a snitch. Get out of here. So Clint Pinier will be named head coach. Have you seen? Between the Gino Reyna thing and this. Do you see this kind of silliness? Or maybe it is, or just, I don't know, maybe from my perspective, the Ciancio thing comes to mind. The Ronaldo thing comes to mind. Is this like, what's going on here? What is this a reflection of? Has this happened before on your side of the pond? Because this seems like super childish to me.
I don't know about anything like this specifically. No, it doesn't come to mind. The closest thing I can think of was Spain a few years ago when Lopetegui was in talk. He was current Spanish manager at the time, and this was like a week before the World Cup. Lopetegui started talking about taking the Real Madrid job after the tournament, and the Spanish FA kicked up a fuss because of it and sacked him right before the World Cup and brought in Hierro, and they like sort of fizzled out, even though they were like one of the best teams going into the tournament under Lopetegui. But other than that, I can't think of anything where like an assistant coach has gone to the club and complained about something that's been said, and it's been a drama like this.
I would think a lot of assistant coach situations, especially when the players they probably can be pretty crass with each other. I mean, I suppose there's a line, but I mean, I can't imagine what could have been said to make a baby out of yourself. He apparently Richie has been aligned with Bruce Arena going back to the 80s. Like, what could he have said? Clearly, he said it. Whatever it was, you're like Richie. Like, I wouldn't want this guy anywhere near my team. I really don't care what he said. I don't know how horrible it was, because he clearly puts his feels above the team. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the impression I got. I think that's the impression that Revolution got. It's like, yeah, I guess we have to let him go because you can't be toxic in the work environment, even though it's a football team. But I mean, geez, I'm kind of glad that they lost. Well, it's New England, so anything Boston lose is fine with me. I'm kind of glad they lost, and I'm kind of glad this guy's getting a shot, because why would you want to put the guy in charge that put his feelings, that made it necessary to let the organization know that Bruce Arena, 71-year-old Bruce Arena, who's probably has an old school outlook on things, if I just had to guess, being a legitimate boomer, an actual boomer. I mean, why would you want to put somebody in his place? It's a fucking baby. It's amazing to me. This is almost as lame as the Gino Reyna story, and I think it's a reflection of the fact that American soccer players and American soccer is not working class, and you just get really soft, annoying Karens running everything. And I know you probably can't comment on that because you don't know, but trust me, it's true. Thanks, Nick. It's nice to have you back on the podcast. Hopefully we can have a lot more. We have more content coming out tomorrow. Strangely enough, we're going to MLS YouTuber Anthony LaRussa. We did a watch along sort of with that. I think it should be pretty fun. I had a good time watching it, so look out for that. I'm sure we're going to have watch alongs in the future. I don't know if we're going to be doing, I kind of want to do second leg Champions League, and I don't want to do every Champions League watch along. I want to do games with meaning. Elimination type stuff. So I don't know how many we're going to be doing because I have to do my other job. But yeah, look, who knows? I might change my mind or what have you. But we're back. We're going to be doing stuff. We're going to be putting out more content, hopefully more content like this. And anything else to add or say goodbye with, Nick?
Subscribe.
Why didn't I think of that? That's right. Subscribe. Yeah, and I'm the professional. Take care, everybody. Bye.